Okay, so we got a quick little project here. Generator's been starting harder and harder and harder, and anybody that doesn't know that much about generators or diesel engines in general, this is actually a pretty good topic to cover really quickly. These particular old mechanical styles, there is just nothing to them. This right here is the fuel solenoid. When you want it to start, it goes in this direction. Okay? When you want it to stop, it goes in that direction. And fundamentally, for all intent and purposes, you know what I mean, there is like one wire, you know what I mean, a plus, wire that comes here. And, you've got the wire down in the starter. But this right here is what makes the engine turn on. Because so long as the engine's getting fuel and it's turning over, it should start. The one thing about these is they don't necessarily like to start all that much. These smaller ones, they're not very super sophisticated. Fuel pump, which is right here, is not very high pressure, that sort of thing. So when they start hard, you'll see that you're going to need glow plugs. So I've got me a brand new little glow plug right here. I took it out of that little hole right there. And fundamentally with glow plugs, you just want to make sure that the length from about here, this is where it seats inside the cylinder head, to here is fundamentally the same length. Now to test these, okay, it's really simple. All you do is get an ohm meter and set it to a relatively low setting, 200, 300, 400, 500 ohms. If this thing makes 100 ohms, it's junk, it's dead. It's basically a heating element. It gets 12 volts from this right here, and comes from this wire right here. This will go on the end of the glow plug, and then that other piece right there will connect to it, and it just carries over to the glow plugs. Now, you'll notice with a diesel engine like this, it'll get harder and harder to start, because first one will die, then another one will die, and then finally when the third one dies, which is back there behind the fuel pump, that'll be it. It just won't want to start. So they're pretty easy. They're all 12 millimeters, and you pull that wire off. These particular ones don't have a nut. They have like a friction nut, and I'm going to get rid of that and put a regular little nut on it. It's kind of easier. And you just take these out. Now, do not buy these from Onan with the part number. These things right here are Bosch, all right? So these are really good ones. Again, made by Bosch. The Onan wants like $35, $36 a piece for these things. I bought all three of them for 16 bucks off of eBay. I'll put a link down below. But, fundamentally, this is a Kubota, like 6000 series tractor engine. Little 3-cylinder, I don't know what it is, 13, 15, 17 horsepower or something like that. They don't make a whole lot of power. Don't need a whole lot of power, but they are super, super reliable. You can get 10,000 hours out of one of these engines. They're really nice. And, like I said, if it don't start, this thing, okay, is either not working or it's not getting fuel. One of those two things. So if you want to troubleshoot one of these, it's really simple. When you hit that button to start it, that little sucker right there should go that way, and engine should turn over. If it does that, all right, then come up here, crack this injector, right, just loosen it up. It's about a 18 millimeter. Loosen it up, right, so that fuel will squirt out of it. If no fuel squirts out of it, then you got a problem. So it's either down here in your fuel filter, this lift pump, okay, they go, but you can hear this, it'll go tick, 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 after you let go of the starter button. So if you come down here and you hit the starter button, I'm not going to do it right now because I got the glow plug out, but you should hear this thing tick, tick, tick for a couple of seconds afterwards. If it doesn't do it the first time or the second time, then chances are you've lost this little Fichette fuel pump. and they're not particularly expensive, maybe 60 bucks off of eBay as well. And you know, so anyway, I'm going to throw these in, and we're going to put it all back together. Like I said, it's about a 10-15 minute job, and then we'll try it out again. Because like I said, this one right here, without a little bit of starting fluid, it won't run. Fires right up when you put a little starting fluid in it, so that, you know, pretty much told me right away that's what I needed. So if you come out and, you know, again, yours doesn't start, you try a little starting fluid, you got fuel, you got the solenoid, you know, doing its thing back and forth, put a little starting fluid up in there, chances are this is what you need right here. So let me put it back together again, and I will get back to you. Okay, so I just want to point out that these are slightly different. But what you're all concerned about is this is where it seats up against the head, and this distance to here. And if you look close enough for horseshoes and hand grenades right there, okay, this does not stick down, you know what I mean, particularly far in there or anything like that. So that 1/8 of an inch, you know what I mean, or less, you know, just that rounded tip there is not going to, you know, make any difference. I just wanted to point that out, because if you do get these, you take yours out. This is an older style Onan. They're slightly different. You can see there's a little bit more threads on the new one, but again, that doesn't really matter, because the distance from the bottom of the thread is the same down to that point right here, where it impacts, you know, and seats up against the cylinder head. So this does not seal. The threads do not seal this, you know, in there. That right there, that little ridge right there does. And that's what matters. And fundamentally, you know, like I said, when you look at these, they are pretty much, for all intent and purposes, exactly the same. So that's what we're really concerned with. I just wanted to point that out. One other thing as well, you know, you might want to think, you know, that you want to bring the wrench in from here. You know, and looking at it, it kind of seems that way, but you don't. You want to come up underneath the intake manifold, okay, and come on it from there, okay, and then you can actually turn it, you know, get a little bit more torque. Again, you know, just a little tidbit I wanted to point out. All right, so I've got 3 shiny new glow plugs in there, one down in there, over there, over there, and you know, like I said, now my battery is a little bit low. I was fighting around with some stuff before and wasn't paying attention, so it's going to go over slow, but let's try it. Before, like I said, this was a fully functioning, ran fine, but I had to spray starter fluid in it to get it going. So we're going to hit our glow plug here, give that a few little tickles here, and 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so like I said, this is a pretty nice simple project to work out. It doesn't take very long. You want to make sure you get you know, not sucked in by buying the parts from Onan. I will put a link down below, like I said. I'm going to just take after now and a little bit of gunk, clean this all out, wash it. The other thing you want to do with generators, make sure you, whenever you get gunk near it, clean out that radiator. Warm the generator up, spray the generator radiator with gunk as far in as you can, and then wash it out. That'll keep the fins nice and clear. They do tend to get fouled up. I noticed that these get much dirtier far more quickly than my main engine radiator. I do the same thing with that one as well, but you know, again, it's a nice simple process. What I learned was that in doing this, I mean, I only have to hold the preheat for maybe a couple of seconds now, and it fires right up. It used to take quite a bit to do it, so I think probably since I got it, I've been on 1 glow plug, and now with 3 glow plugs in it, boy, it's really happy. So nice, easy project. I hope you enjoyed it. You want to see more videos, please subscribe, and thanks as always. Take care.